Hi, welcome, and I hope you're doing well. Here I have the Dell G3 Gaming Laptop, and what I'll be doing is I'll do a teardown video for you, and in this process you're gonna see I'll be doing a step-by-step on how to remove like the battery, the hard drive, things like that, like the RAM. So if you have a bad battery, if your battery is not holding the charge, this video here will show you how to do that. If your M.2 SSD drive is running out of space, you'd like to increase more space on it, yep, this video will get you to the right steps on how to upgrade your M.2 drive. Alright, so before I start the process, I like to ask you a small favor by clicking the like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. This actually helps me to stay motivated and make more these type of teardown videos about the repair on all laptops here. So let's get started. Here I have the electronic screwdriver. I find that using the electronic screwdriver helps me to get things done a lot quicker. Before, I like to use the regular screwdriver, and sometimes it takes I get tired of it, so I upgraded myself. This is not a sponsored video. I actually use my own money to pay for this electronic screwdriver. So if you tend to like it, if you think like something that you are interested to buy, I actually have the link in the description below. I got this from Amazon. I think it's right about $20. It's not that expensive. It has like additional drill, not the drill bits, but a different type of bits on it, so you can use it on a different computer, or maybe your own small little hardware that you want to do a repair and stuff like that. Alright, so far I have 4 bottom screws that come out, and then there are 2 more screws on both sides, the left and right, and the top screws here, the 4 of the screws on the top, they do not come out at all, so just leave it as this on the top. Now once I have the 4 all the screws removed at the bottom, I try to pry it open. What you want to do is, let me see. So this computer does power on by itself when you lift the screen up, because they do have this magnet on the screen. So once the screen is separated, it would just power up on itself without pressing the power button. So what I'm going to do is I need to shut it down. Let me see if I can find my cursor. Okay, power, shut down. So let me try to go in between the bottom case here. It's actually right underneath that blue line. That's where the case is. So just take your time, be gentle with it. If you are try not to scratch the computer. The same time is you try not to stick it all the way in, because when you stick it too deep, what happens is that you might actually damage the motherboard. Okay, so I know it's kind of annoying, because when you lift the screen, the thing's trying to start to power on by itself. So actually I'm trying to not lift the screen up, the same time to go underneath the case here. So alright, so far it's been looking good. Alright, so it's just a little bit difficult for me I just wanted to point out to you there's no screws whatsoever that's holding onto the exhaust fan, but it's just kind of like a latch that goes like this, that kind of hold on to that heat sink right here. So you might need to wiggle a little bit, and as you wiggle you might want to slide away from your body, right, to slide the back cover away from the body to try to remove it. Alright, so now you can see what is in the computer. As you can see here, there are the both fans, left and right. They do have the CPU and the graphics card shared with the same heatsink, and this two fan here is exhausting the heat away from the computer. Now this one here is actually your Wi-Fi card, which is the NIC card. It has the white and black cable, and this cable goes along to the screen where the antenna is to catch the Wi-Fi. Here you can see that we have a DDR4 RAM. Now if you want to increase the RAM, you can. What you can do is you try to push these two metal clipper away from each other, right? So push it left to the right, away from each other. The RAM pops up, and you can slide away from your body. Just slide it out. And this is a PC4, meaning that this DDR4 RAM, 8 gigs. So this is 8 by 8, which is 32. And to install it, you want to kind of slide it in first. Slide it in, push it all the way in, and then when you're ready, just push it down. You can see that the clipper would lock on itself. Alright, so you can do, right now is 8 and 8, which is 16. You can do 16 and 16 up to 32 gigs. Now this is your battery, right? So if you have the battery that is not holding the charge, or your battery is swollen, right, there's a lump on the battery and you need to replace it, it's very simple. So go ahead and remove the screws. So there are two tiny screws that holds onto the battery, and what you want to do is this cable here, you want to slide it down to your body. There's no clipper or anything, just a connector that slides down. To install, you just push it back up. Alright, now the whole battery will just come up without any problem. To find a replacement part, you want to look for this CN-0 M.2 GWP. Alright, and just kind of Google on those numbers for the battery replacement, or you can look it up for this type model 266J9. Alright, that goes for the battery. Now here is actually additional slot for you to install a D drive, right, or secondary drive, and you can do it as in SSD drive if you want. So let's go ahead and remove that. So actually there are 3 screws that's holding onto this this bracket here. Now these 3 screws is to hold onto this bracket. And in this bracket here, you can see that there are 4 screws, and these 4 screws are for you to install the 2.5 inch drive. Now if you're gonna buy the SSD drive, like this is what I have, is an SSD drive. Once you buy the SSD drive, if you want to upgrade it, what you can do is you can go ahead and insert this SATA connector, right? Insert it to your SSD drive and go ahead and align it properly, maybe this direction. Okay, once you align them in this direction, remove that 4 screws at the bottom here and put it onto the SSD drive. Once you have the SSD drive installed, the next thing you got to make sure you connect the cable. Now where is this cable go to? On the motherboard here is the HDD, so you need to open up the clipper, flip the clipper open. Alright, it will open up at 90-degree angle, and make sure that the connector, the pin, the metal part right here, the gold plated part, would have to face down. Okay, so insert all the way in. And once you have the thing insert all the way in, you see that black line, that one little line here on the blue blue tape plastic here, that is to indicate that you have matched all the way in. That means the line, when the clipper closed, the clipper matched the black line. That means you are right at that very end of it, and it closed in a perfect angle. And after that, you can just actually what you can do is you can put the 3 screws back on, right? So put the 3 screws back on, and there you have it. So you should have the a secondary drive besides the M.2 drive. So let me go ahead and put this on the side, because I have to continue to show you the rest of other stuff here. Okay, so let's put this on the side. Now the next thing is, if you're gonna ask me where is the M.2 drive, the M.2 drive is right here. You can see that there's a copper heatsink. Let's go ahead and remove this. Alright, so go ahead and slide it out. So I remove the copper first, and I can slide off the M.2 drive. Now this is a 512 M.2, and they're actually a smaller ones, and you can go up to here to, this should have, yep, you can go up to here. Now if you're gonna buy something like the standard size, so this is the standard size that if you're gonna buy the replacement, you can buy it and go ahead and install it. Now you probably wouldn't be able to install the copper heatsink, right? Because the heatsink is only for the smaller ones. You can buy the small one if you want, but if you can't get it, you can get the regular ones. That's fine. And just go ahead and put the screws that you remove, and then screw it back in here to install your M.2 drive. Now if you feel like the 512 is too small for you and you want to increase up to like 1 terabyte, I actually have a link in my I actually have a video in my channel I specifically make for the purpose is to upgrade the M.2 to a larger M.2. So if you want to upgrade and make sure all the windows, the programs, the data, the settings, everything migrate over, I created a video called how to clone the M.2 to a larger M.2. I will have the that link in the pop-up message right now, or maybe in the description below. Go ahead and click on it, and it will direct you to show you on how to do that. Alright, let's move on to the next thing. This is for your touchpad. Let's go ahead and disconnect the touchpad cable. Flip the clipper open, slide that cable down. This is your motherboard, sorry, this is your keyboard lighting. Flip the cable open, and then slide this back lighting cable. Did I open it? Yeah, okay. Yep, so once you flip open that cable, you can slide out the backlighting, and this is actually for your keyboard, right? So flip open the cable and open up the clipper, and then slide the cable down. Now this one here is for your LCD. It looks like the LCD, oh sorry, this is your DC jack connector, right? The charging port here. So to remove it, you can actually push it away from you, I believe. Yep, the connector is not a clip-on or anything, you just have to slide it out. So slide it away from my body, slide it that direction, and there you have it. That's how you disconnect the DC jack. Let's go ahead and remove the DC jack since we're already halfway done. You actually need to remove one screw, and this one screw here is the bracket that's holding onto that DC jack connector. And this is your this is your DC jack connector. And if you want to find a replacement part for this, let's look it up somewhere at this number right here. This number here is 0PRV65, or maybe this CN-0PRV65. Okay, so this is your DC jack connector. Now if you have a blown speaker, and this is where the speaker goes to, so go ahead and slide the connector to your right. I'm using my both fingernail and then just kind of push it to my right. That's how I slide it open. And this speaker right here, there's no screw or whatsoever. You can just lift it up. Follow along this cable right here. Just go ahead and disconnect them, and then lift up this speaker right here, and you get a left and right speaker replacement. The speaker replacement model here is I think is CN-QJVKR1. That is the speaker replacement for this model. Alright, so far we have disconnected most of the cables except the Wi-Fi. Let's go ahead and do that. So remove that screw, and what I usually like to do is I like to get a Sharpie and give it a mark here. So I mark the black one with the one dot, so at least I know that the blue marker is for the black, which is on the right side of it. The white one is on the left. Slide the NIC card out, and that's how you disconnect it. Okay, now here is your CPU fan. You can see that the connector is connected to the left. Go ahead and use two of your fingernail, push it to the left. That's how you disconnect the CPU fan here. Same thing for this. I'm using my fingernail, push it to my right. I disconnect the CPU fan. Now let me go ahead and start removing the CPU fan. So there are two screws that holds on to the CPU fan, and once you remove it, there you go. If you want to look for the parts, you just have to look tiny carefully here on that number. Okay, so two screws on that CPU fan, and let's see how many screws are there for this one. It looks like there's only two more screws again for this CPU fan on the right side as well. Okay, so far has been good. Now the next thing I like to do is to disconnect this LCD cable. This cable right here, you can just lift it up, right? Just lift it up, and that's how you disconnect. It's just like a Lego. Just lift it up, you disconnect it. Now the next part I'm trying to do is I'm trying to remove the motherboard. Alright, I just removed that bracket right there. Let's see, do we get the motherboard out? Looks like there's screws here. So go ahead and remove that. And the two screws. So there looks like there's only two screws that holds onto the motherboard. Once you remove the two screws earlier that I just showed you, and I think the motherboard would, oops, sorry, there's still one more cable connected here. So let me go ahead and disconnect this one first. You know what, I'll leave the cable on. If you want to disconnect the cable, you can. I know, yeah, you know what, let's disconnect the cable. Alright, that's how you have it. The entire motherboard just come right out without any problem. Now let's flip it around. If you want to take a closer look, there you have it. And make sure I have the cable connected back properly. I just pulled it out earlier, so alright, there you have it. And if you want to find the motherboard replacement, I would probably think it's right underneath here, so you can look it up, or maybe this one is actually for the heatsink. I think this one right here. Yeah. Oh yeah, so if you feel like the computer is overheating, right, and if you want to apply the thermal paste, you can go ahead and remove the screw. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would remove the entire heatsink. Once the heatsink is removed, the next step you want to do is to clean the thermal paste. Those would be the dry thermal paste, and then you want to get a new thermal paste, applied it, and put the heatsink back on. So if your computer is overheating, that is the step I would recommend you to do. Alright, so now let's get back to the question here. So what if you spill something on the keyboard and your keyboard is not working? What should you do? Now it looks like to me the keyboard is not replaceable. It's actually a punch down keyboard. So what you need to do is you need to replace the entire plate here. Okay, so if you like this video, please go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I thank you for watching. See you next time.